Hello and welcome to another video from erpvideos.com. In this video, we are going to look at S4HANA 1709, but this particular video is going to be a bit in depth as to what you could do with your virtual machine. So once you download the virtual machine and you extract it, you will have one folder or two depending on what particular virtual machine you've purchased. Workstation 5 comes with the package. You just have to install it. Once you install it, just open the work machine and say open with VMware and load up like that. And you go back and you open with workstation and it will load up as well. So in this, you need two. This is the database and this is the application layer. So there's a dual instance machine, but most of our machine like EHP7, EHP8, they're all single instance. The first thing to do is make sure you set your processor and your memory based on what processor and memory that you have on your machine. This particular machine here has 384 gigs of RAM and I think 32 cores of CPU. So based on your, so it has 16 cores, 32 threads. So based on your machine, set the memory and RAM. So it's very important. So some machines you only have 64 gigs of RAM, so you may not start. So you have to go into preferences, edit preferences, click on memory and say allow most virtual memory to be swapped. At this point, you need to make sure that you have swap memory available. So you go into advanced settings, advanced, and make sure you change. So I have 40 GB. I can make it 140 GB because you can then swap it out. Again, it only works if you have SSD. If you have virtual memory, it's going to be like a PowerPoint, incredibly slow. So let's turn on the machines. The first thing you need to realize when you turn it on is sometimes it'll ask you, did you copy it or did you move it? Always select I moved the VM. Always select I moved the VM. So let me see if I can get a picture for you while it's load. COPI copied or moved VM. Let's see for images. There you go. So you'll see a picture like this. Virtual machine has been moved or copied. Never select I copied, always select I moved it. Okay, because if you select I copied it, it's going to regenerate your license and you don't want that. The initial load time is a bit high because it is creating the RAM for you. So here, if you select a 64 gig, it's going to create 64 gigs of virtual memory and then load the files onto the RAM. So the initial load time for the HANA, any HANA or any virtual machine for that matter, is dependent on the size of your virtual memory setting. So on this case, we only have 17 gigs. 70 gigs is pretty easy to write on an SSD, and it just does it right away. So sometimes Windows has issues. Anyway, let's just go in. Okay. And our HANA is loaded. Again, there's no use of HANA if you're not going to okay, another option is just to full screen it, keep changes. Okay, I'm going to full screen my window and you can see it's dual instance. Oh, and I'm remotely connected to my server. So there's a HANA one. Again, this is unique for all our HANA instances as well. All the passwords will be given to you. So sorry again for the long video, but you just want to make sure that there is always a README file on what to do. Make sure you read the README file on your corresponding virtual machine. This is the README file for your HANA. Okay, so we'll run through some of this because HANA is very important. First thing to do is set your IP address. So the tool that we use for that is YAST. There. And you go home. Here, open in terminal and type in IFCONFIG. So what IFCONFIG? So whatever your IP address is over here is what you change your host name to. So you have to change your host name. This is before you turn on your machine. Turn on your SAP instance. or in this case, the HANA instance. Whatever instance you turn on, you have to set your host name to whatever it is. The same thing for this. You have to edit the host file in Notepad. Set your IP address. So since it's a dual instance, you have to set the HANA IP address and the SAP IP address, the instance IP address. So whatever the IP address is over here, HANA, see this IP address, and then you have to put the SAP server, which is the second application layer over here as well. So since that's all done, you just have to edit it to change your IP address, copy paste it. Once that's done, you go into, again, if you bought an ECC HPA, this is irrelevant to you, su/l hdbadm. You can see all previous comments by just selecting up and stuff like that. So HDB start, if you don't know if it started or not, you put HDB info, and you can see there's no uh, there's no HTTP instances running or HANA instances running. So you give it some time. This will take some time depending on your machine. Since I'm running, since I have a lot of RAM, it might be a little bit faster. But again, keep your expectations low because these machines, these softwares run on multiple application layers. So if your IP address is not right, you will not see any systems here. But since this is the machine that we created, so if here in the Windows CMD, and ipconfig is the command, ipconfig. Okay, so you can see my IP address is 53 and its host name is SAP server. So you just have to see my SAP server number is actually wrong. So it's 53 and 53. So I have to change it, save, close my layer, no, close it, and change over here in the HANA instance as well. I have to go back to Yast and change from 48 . Okay, I'm going to edit this to 53. So my number is no longer 49, it's 53. Save my HANA IP address is still the same. No, you don't want to change. I want to save it. Press OK. Okay, so that's saved. All right, so my HANA is still starting, and go back into S4HANA. I'm going to open my thing. I'm going to open here. Again, you can install the HANA Studio on the Windows instance or on the SAP here instance. I recommend installing it in Linux. You know, it is or using the Linux one. It is actually less memory than the Windows version, and it is resident. It'll be a little bit faster because you're running it on the same instance as the one where the HTTP is actually installed. So you can, the features are identical, and the license and everything is installed for you. You can see the process of it starting up when you have HTTP Studio loading. Okay, as you can see here, there's two instances. There's a system DB, this is where the license is installed, and this is the tenant DB. All SAP instances are tenanted. All SAP HANA software now going forward is tenanted. So 171809, 1909, they all will be tenanted. Databases is dual instance. You can install multiple tenants, and okay, log on. All right, guys. So once this is ready, you can now this is not this since it's dual system, you have to go on to the Windows machine and turn the system on from here. So if you have your numbers right in the host panel, in the host file, this should start up almost instantly. So the passwords will be given to you once you purchase the machine. So the advantage of having HANA is is the system. If you have sufficient resources, it's usually really quick. So real time. So let's log on to give it a few more seconds here. Let's see. As you can see here, my instance is ended. I just forgot to do something, which is set the virtual memory. Because we are shipping the machine out by download, we disable the system files. So this has to be 125 or 120,000 to 135,000, just for the sake of the actual file will be here. Also, you need 60 gigs more of swap files. So I put 120 double. All right, so I'm going to restart my instance. It should restart, and it should work this time without any issues. Let's take a look. Okay, so it's shutting down and restarting now. Okay, so it's come up again. So remember to read the README file. It's important. In even things I forget, you can. So let's go into systemdb here while it's starting up properties. Take a look at the license file. Click on license. And you can see till 2025 you have the system HANA for 1 terabyte, 1 TB of memory. So there, that is a license. It's important. And also for those who are technical, the log files are disabled. It's an override mode, so it doesn't destroy your hard drive space in a few days. So this is now started. Just go into HANA. We won't go into the application side for S4HANA. This is just an overview. Okay, so client 100 is created for you. I don't know what the user is. Let me check. So the username is S4user, and there you go.